It is part 3 of section 8.1, types of clustering and objective functions. In this part, we'll preview clustering algorithms we'll learn in the following sections. In particular, we'll try to see these two. Partitional clustering will be studied in section 8.2. For hierarchical clustering, we'll consider in section 8.3, and the density-based clustering will be studied in section 8.4. For partitional clustering, we'll try to divide data objects into non-overlapping subsets that are clusters, such that each data object is in exactly one subset. Here, for this data set, and now we are making 3 clusters so that each point belongs to only one cluster. So that is partitional clustering. And examples are here: k-means and bisecting k-means. K-means is simple and easy to implement. However, it has some problems, so that bisecting k-means is an improved version of that. K-methods is more known as PAM, partitioning around methods. And this one is also working better than k-means in many cases. However, it is way more expensive, so that to improve the computational the efficiency, here Clara and Clarence are developed. So we'll see details. For hierarchical clustering, a set of nested clusters will be organized as a hierarchical tree. Here, in the beginning, we have 4 points, so that we may consider each point is a singleton cluster. Now, we'll try to merge the clusters, and the nearest cluster seems P2 and P3, so that it's merged there. And after merging this one, we have 3 clusters, this one and that one, that one. Now, this cluster and P4 are nearest, so that we can merge. And then again, later on, we merge this one to get just a cluster for all the points. Now, that the process can be illustrated using that dendrogram. For example, now if you make a horizontal line here, then here we have 2 clusters, so that P1 is one separate class, and this 3 point will make a cluster. Now, if you are making some other horizontal line like that, then there will be 3 clusters. P1 is a cluster, P4 is a cluster, and P2, P3 will make a cluster. So in this way, once illustrated with a dendrogram, then you can see quite easily the clusters. Okay, so it is quite useful, and this hierarchical clustering is used in many applications. So depending on the interest, you can make some different level of the horizontal line, and you can see the different clusters. So it is really quite useful. Okay, here are the distinctions between sets of clusters, exclusive versus non-exclusive. In non-exclusive clustering, some points may belong to multiple clusters. In exclusive clustering, here in this clustering, points should be belonging to only one cluster. 4G versus non-4G. Here, the standard one is non-4G. Once you are working with 4G clustering, then points belong to every cluster with the membership weights. So the value is between 0 and 1, so that here in 4G case, now every point is belong to every cluster with membership score. So that later on, along with some thresholding, you can separate them. A point can be now belonging to one cluster with thresholding. Okay. Probabilistic clustering has a similar concept. Partial and complete. In some clustering, we try to use partial data set. Part of data set will be used there. And if you are using the whole data set, then that is complete clustering. And also here, for widely different sizes, shapes, and densities, you may try to use here heterogeneous clustering. And or now the homogeneous way, then you may have many problems. And once it is widely different, then you have to use heterogeneous, the objective function. Okay. Now here we consider objective function. Now for objective functions, here global objective function is preferred. For partitional clustering, like the k-means and k-methods, here we try to minimize the sum of square errors, so that is global objective function. For given k, that is the number of clusters, we try to minimize that sum of squared error. That is objective function. And for that, here, the algorithm will be organized n, and by using some iterative algorithm, we'll try to make groups, clusters. Okay. Now, here for global objective functions, sometimes here we may organize the objective function with the mixed models. Here we assume that the data set is a mixture of a number of parametric statistical distributions. In this data set, now here we have one, and that is now in Gaussian model, and then another one, so that is a mixture model. Okay. But anyway, it is a global, it makes a global objective function. For local objective function, and if you are working with hierarchical clustering algorithms, then typically the objective function must be local. Like in this one, and hierarchically, you are trying to make here clustering and merging. Then each step, the object function is varying, so that it's not easy to define global objective function. Okay, and density-based clustering is based on local density estimates, and also here Now, and graph-based approaches and graph partitioning and show the nearest neighbors will be used in this approach. But we'll not deal with this one in detail. And we'll consider the object functions when we talk about the individual clustering algorithms for in the following sections. When we consider the particular clustering algorithms, then we'll consider the corresponding objective functions. Okay, that's the end of section 8.1. Thank you.